Hello everyone, this is Lucy05 and welcome to the Cobra Ringneck toy review. And today so we're looking at the 2003 release by Hasbro of the G.I. Joe Spytroops vehicle and action figure review. And today's vehicle and action figure review, looking at the Cobra Ringneck and its driver, the Neo Viper version 5. Now I got this straight from eBay, and surprisingly enough I managed to get this for $26. Way more cheaper to compare the other eBay sellers selling at least $50 or at least $60 there, but still a little bit pricier compared to the retail pricing, of course. Now let's take a look at the front portion of the packaging itself. Now, like most of the Spytroops vehicle packaging, they tend to cut one half of the packaging itself just to show the toy, and you can see the edges there, they're all jagged just to make it look like they're in a forest or something. Now with this open packaging, you will notice that it's also quite vulnerable to damage, as you can see there. Plus the fact that the Cobra Ringneck vehicle itself, the toy, is also quite vulnerable to dust, like mine, which is covered in dust as well. And also another problem with the open packaging is because it's also quite vulnerable to damage if you accidentally drop it to the floor. Well, anyways, this is their design, so we have a nice view of the toy itself, the Cobra Ringneck, and at the background there we have the missile and the antenna for the vehicle. Here on one corner we have the Neo Viper behind the window itself. This is the Neo Viper version 5, and on one side here you get to see that it says "Try Me Action Attack Sound C side panel." Now on the side of the packaging itself, this is the back portion of the vehicle. We have a handle here and it's stated "Try Me Push Handle for Sounds and Movement." So you can actually push the handle in, and you can see some of the gun stations can actually twist a little bit and it will make some noise. Yes, it still works, but I'm going to demonstrate that later in the review. Quite nice, but still, open packaging is not really a good idea. On one side here we have a nice image of the Cobra Ringneck driving in the desert itself. On the sides and the background are all mountains and cliffs, and they also launched one of the gun stations. On the top section is the G.I. Joe vs. Cobra logo with all the characters there: Duke, Thunder Rat, Scarlet, Snake Eyes, and I assume this is Roadblock. Bottom section of the packaging we have a larger image of the Cobra Ringneck. However, it's not a full image. Here we have the previous lineup. We have the Spitfire vehicle and the Patriot Grizzly tank. Now at the back portion of the packaging, here we have a write-up, a long write-up, stating the Spytroops forces add the element of surprise to the battle between G.I. Joe and Cobra. Both teams go undercover into enemy territory to launch attacks and sabotage the enemy's plans. Penetrating deep behind G.I. Joe lines, Neo Viper troopers in the Cobra Ringneck vehicle act as covert scouts, avoiding contact and holding their fire. They keep Cobra High Command updated by sending coded signals transmitted in compressed quote-unquote flash format to avoid radio triangulation detection. The objective: degrade the tactical abilities of the G.I. Joe team by harassment and espionage. Very nice. Now at the bottom section of the packaging itself, we have the file card for the Neo Viper. Codename Neo Viper, Cobra Ringneck driver. We have the full image of the Neo Viper, and he's dressed in a full silver uniform. At the corner here we have the Cobra logo. Here we have a large write-up of the Neo Viper. The Neo Viper force is the new wave of Cobra infantry. Chosen for their independent thinking, initiative, and daring, they are expected to carry the fight far inside G.I. Joe territory. They are equipped with armored climate control suits that enable them to function efficiently in extreme environments, and they are given advanced training in deep battle tactics, survival procedures, and high-tech weapon system management. A Neo Viper driver is uniquely suited to man the Cobra Ringneck and utilize it as an Advanced Scout Vehicle. Neo Viper troops are aggressive yet wary. Attention to detail yet practical. Sneaky yet untrustworthy. Ferocious in combat yet willing to retreat tactically. This is a combination of traits that makes them formidable foes. And the last thing that the G.I. Joe team wants to have sneaking up on them from their left flank. At the bottom, they quoted, "Nothing makes our day like watching the G.I. Joe team roll right past us while we are undercover and camouflage, especially when we call utterly in on them." Very nice. Here we have the actual image of the toy itself being piloted and handled by 4 Neo Vipers, all in 3 different colors. Very colorful. Here is the features for the vehicle itself in top-down, front and side view. It has removable gun stations, and it's stated press button to fire missile from launcher, move handle to rotate side gun stations and hear firing sounds. Here is stated push vehicle for engine sounds. There's a lot of sound effects. And here is stated includes 1 figure, other figures sold separately, of course. And that's about it for the back portion of the packaging. So, without further ado, let's open up this packaging so we can molest the toys. Be right back. And we're back after the Junior figure and the rest of the stuff out from the packaging. But first things first, let's take a look at the Neo Viper version 5 first. Now, the figure doesn't come with any accessories at all, not even a base stand, so that's rather disappointing actually. Furthermore, as you can see, without any accessories, the figure is, well, rather uninteresting. What makes it worse is that the figure's colors make it even more boring than usual. Now, the entire figure, majority of parts, as you can see here, is made of a grey plastic material color, more towards a metallic grey there, and it has some paint jobs and some parts that's actually made of a almost black, but there's a little bit of blue, really dark blue plastic material color parts and paint jobs, and also some other colors like black and purple. Now, for the entire head here is made of a grey plastic material color, but the face mask is painted in black. It's quite boring looking with just simple colors being placed onto the figure. The torso here, we have a Cobra logo. The entire body is also made of a grey metallic plastic material color, but the Cobra logo here is actually painted in purple instead. You're hardly able to see the details quite clear unless you really look up close. The belt is actually painted, as you can see, all the way to the back here, more towards to almost black paint job, but there's a bit of blue, so does the gloves itself, because the crotch area and the entire pair of arms is made of the same plastic material color as the head and torso. Thigh section is also made of the same plastic material color as the rest of the body, except for the gun holster here that is painted the same paint job as the gloves belt itself. For the boots itself, is made of a almost black but a little bit of blue plastic material color for the entire pair of boots. And that's all you get for the paint job for this figure, and it looks rather boring actually when you look at this. Despite that the figure's mold has a lot of details. Now, speaking of the figure's details and mold, now this entire figure, this Neo Viper is version 5 of its kind. Now, it's based on its mold on the version 4 Neo Viper. More towards to the whole entire uniform design is from version 1, but the whole entire mold is based on version 4 instead. And there's a lot of nice details for this figure, but with the paint job, it makes it look uninteresting. Now, you got the head sculpt there. The head sculpt is quite nicely done, but you're barely able to see the details of the face mask because it's painted in black. There's a visor there, face mask above the visor. As you can see, there's this small little logo. I assume it's a Cobra logo because due to the shape itself, but it's not really well done. The back portion of the helmet, you see the linings there. The torso, as you can see, there's no muscle tones being shown for the torso itself because he's wearing this really padded armor. As you can see, the shoulders here, all the straps being shown, very nice. Here we have his really big Cobra logo right at the center of his chest. Again, you're hardly able to see anything, of the details itself because it's painted in dark purple. Now the belt itself has a lot of nice details, a lot of pouches for the belt. Each one of the pouches has different mode, and for the belt buckle there's a Cobra logo as well. And right below the belt we have more paddings as well, very nice. Upper bicep down, there are small little pouches. As you can see, each side of the upper bicep has different types of molds. One side of the upper bicep, for the left upper bicep, we have a larger pouch. On the other side, of the right hand side of the upper bicep, we have a smaller pouch. There's a lot of nice details. Why wouldn't they just paint the details? Then we have the lower arms, the entire pair of gloves. As you can see, the details for the gloves itself, very nice. And what's interesting to note about the mold for the hands itself, as you can see, the right side of the hand, this is where the joint is, and the hand is facing on the side like so. So when you bend the arm, when you bend the elbow itself, this hand is facing upwards. On the other side of the hand itself, the left hand, as you can see, this is the joint and the hand is facing downwards. So you get to see that when it bends, it's actually showing this way of the direction of the glove itself. The reason they do it this way because the figure doesn't have a wrist joint. So when you place the figure's hand with a rifle weapon right onto the right hand, and then you use the left hand to grip onto the body of the rifle itself, something like in this pose. So it's a nice idea, but you know what's a good idea? Giving the figure a wrist joint. Wouldn't that make everything much more easier? Then the torso itself is, of course, made of a O-ring design that connects from the torso to the hip joints itself. The version 1 Neo Viper is actually used a T-crotch design. Now, going further with the details of the figure itself, one side of the thigh, the right side of the thigh itself, we have a molded holster, a gun holster with the gun there. On the other side of the thigh, we have a belt of bullets. So you have a gun molded onto one side of the leg itself, you have ammo, but you don't even give the figure a pistol. Why? Then we have the boots itself. Now the boots is also quite nice. You got knee pads there. Each side of the knee pads is also quite different. I also forgot to show there's also a belt buckle there. Due to the colors for the Neo Viper, you hardly able to notice the nice little details there. On one side of the boots you have a smaller pouch. On the other side of the boots itself we also have the similar pouch as well. There's a lot of wrinkles at the ankles there, very nice. Bottom section of the boots, you get to see the smaller details as well. It's actually quite nice with the details. Even the back of the butt itself, there's actually a bit of wrinkle. It's very nice with the details, but because of the color, it looks rather boring. It reminds me of the Rise of Cobra figures, like the Neo Viper figures. The Rise of Cobra movie Neo Vipers, they're both the same anyway, but different. But as you can see, the color theme there, the color scheme there is similar to the movie color scheme for the Neo Vipers. Now let's take a look at the figure's articulation. Now the neck joint there can actually turn left and right, up a little bit, straight, and side to side a little bit. Torso joint, as I mentioned before, is made of an O-ring design, so it connects from the torso and to the hip joint. So you can only turn left and right, back forward, side to side. You cannot twist the whole torso 360 degrees, otherwise you snap the O-ring. Shoulder joints here can turn 360 degrees and lift the arms this high. And elbow joint here can bend this far and turn 360 degrees. No wrist joints, which is kind of interesting for a 2003 figure. Hip joints here that can move forward this far, back a little bit, and to the sides. And then we have single jointed knee that bends only this far. Very nice. Now the articulation is alright. It's based on the old vintage style. However, by designing the hands that way, it's alright. You might as well give them a wrist joint, but the colors is rather boring, and with no accessories at all, it just makes the figure uninteresting at all. I know he is a Cobra Ringneck driver, but at least his tank driver have an accessory like a base stand and a pistol. So if I'm gonna give a rating to the Neo Viper version 5 here, I'll give it a 5 out of 10. I love the mold design. The mold design is very detailed. It's just the colors and the lacking of, well, accessories just really turns me off. 5 out of 10 for the Neo Viper version 5. Next up, let's take a look at the Cobra Ringneck. Be right back. And we're back, and this time we'll take a look at the Cobra Ringneck. But first things first, let's take a look at the instruction manual that came along with it. Now here we have the instruction manual for the Cobra Ringneck. We have 3 images showing the front, top and side view of the vehicle. And it gives very simple listing of details like number 1, weapon sounds, number 2, firing missile, number 3, engine sounds, number 4, removable rotating gun stations. It's not like the old vintage 80s and early 90s of the G.I. Joe toy vehicle, where they came along with the instruction manual and they have listing of those, well, make-believe techno-babbles details for the vehicles. So I'm quite disappointed on that. On the other side of the instruction manual, the top half section of the manual itself, well, shows the instruction on the features of the Cobra Ringneck. However, the bottom section of the instruction manual, the entire half of it, is just dedicating to the batteries. What to do with the batteries, what not to do. There's the FCC statement, there's cautions, and replacing the battery section on this small little section here. It uses 2 AAA batteries, which is located at the panel down below here. Now, let's take a look at the vehicle's colors. Now, majority of parts here are purely plastic material color. Very little amount of paint job involved onto the vehicle itself. And there are quite a number of sticker labels, which is quite surprising. But most of them, or at least half of them, are always off-centered or have this weird angle when they place onto it. I really wish Hasbro don't put the sticker labels for us. Let us handle the sticker labels, because when they do it, it's not really a good job. Now, the body of the vehicle itself is a slightly bluish but gray plastic material color, dark gray plastic material color, as you can see there. But there's a bit of paint job going on. As you can see, the side of the vehicle itself, there's the camo stripes in a dark, really dark purple camo stripes there. Dark purple, a little bit of dark gray camo stripes there. This goes on one side and the other side as well. Then each side of the vehicle, the vents here is painted in a dull bronze paint job. The top section here, all the linings, as you can see here, including the back portion here, and this entire section is painted in bronze paint job. And that's about it with the paint job. It's absolutely ridiculous that they just paint on those sections there, and that's about it. Well, at least they gave us the camo stripes there, and at least there's something. And the rest of the vehicle is basically plastic material color and laden with stickers. But first things first, the vehicle, it actually has 6 wheels, and all the wheels are made of a black plastic material color. The rims, however, is a separate piece made of a bronze plastic material color. The front portion of the bumper here, or the ram, the battering ram here, is made of a bronze plastic material color. Front portion of the small little pathetic looking, well, gun or cannon here is made of a, well, bronze plastic material color as well, more towards to grey. As you can see on the other side, the back portion, there's no paint job or any sticker labels at all. Now, for the sticker labels, as you can see on one side here, it has been placed with CB-187. As you can see, it's a little bit off-center. It's on the end of the sticker itself is a little bit high. Then we have a Cobra logo here, which is again a little bit off angle. There's also more sticker labels on this section as well. Again, more sticker labels for the gun stations. As you can see, this one starts to peel off a little bit. More sticker labels on this section as well for the vents, headlights. On the other side, they have the same sticker labels as well. Driver's seat here, which is surprising, they actually place a sticker label there. And finally, well, there's one more of course on this section, but finally, at the turret itself, we have a sticker label on this section, which is actually quite nicely done. And that's all there is for the sticker labels. For the rest of the colors of the vehicle itself, the antenna, the hatch here, the entire cannon, along with the missile itself, the gun stations are made of a bronze plastic material color. And at the bottom section of the panel, again, made of a bronze plastic material color. What I really don't understand is why they can't just use the same color as the body itself. Why is it so off? Are they so afraid that none of us can actually notice the panel itself and the screw there? It's just really ridiculous. As I mentioned before, this part here, the ram is actually made of a bronze plastic material color. And that's all there is for the colors of the Cobra Ringneck. Now, at first glance, it may look a little bit boring, but with the sticker labels and some of the paint job, and especially the paint job of the camo stripes there, it actually looks not bad. It looks not bad at all. Now, for the details of the vehicle, well, that's of course another story. Now, I really like this huge tires. It's actually nicely done with the mold of the huge tires, as you can see there. And the rims as well, very nice. 3 small rivets to support the rim. You can see all the paneling and rivets on the side of the armor itself. More panelings and more rivets, very nice. Ventilation cover and more rivets. This vehicle has a lot of rivets. You can see the inside of the vehicle, there's a bit of details as well, including a little bit of, I would assume, some sort of well, tubing. Bottom section of the vehicle, there's a lot of details. As you can see there, very nice. You've got the bottom section of the vehicle itself, very nice. A lot of rivets as well. Back portion of the vehicle, you've got the rear lights, which is not painted, which is kind of disappointing. You can see on this section here, there's a lot of nice details as well. Very nice. Top section of the back portion of the vehicle, bit of details and a lot of rivets. You got the antenna going on and the hatch. Top section of the hatch has a lot of rivets as well. And the hatch itself, as you can see, there's small little viewports surrounding the entire cover. Very nice for the gunner to see. Here you got the entire turret itself with a lot of rivets as well, and a smaller handle that actually is not really a handle. Still a nice job. Now what I really don't like about the vehicle is the permanent mold on the turret itself. It is permanently affixed to this angle, so you cannot have the turret point straight rather than up a little bit. As you can see, that's not really nice. Then we have the gun stations, which is removable, as you can see. Nice details, but the inside is quite plain looking. Got a small little machine gun, which is also affixed on this angle. You can still turn, of course, but it's fixed on this angle itself. You got the stands itself, which I'm going to show the gimmick and the features later on. Front portion of the vehicle, you got the headlights and this small little gun. Why is the driver given a small little gun here to protect himself rather than have a cover to really protect the driver? All it takes is just one sniper to take out this vehicle, and that's it, leaving the guy in the turret safe and sound. All three guys on the sides and the front is going to get taken out by a sniper quite easily. But the details is actually quite not bad looking. And yes, you can open it up, but inside of the turret is also quite bad and empty. Very nice. Now let's take a look at the vehicle's features. Now the entire turret is on a ratchet that can turn 360 degrees, but with the barrel of the gun itself affixed on one position, it's not much of a fun. Furthermore, you can actually plug it out quite easily too. Here we have a black button, which is kind of out of place. When you press the black button, it launches the missile, like so. This is the missile itself, made of a bronze plastic material color. Again, really disappointing on how they permanently mold this and fix this in a fixed position. So does the smaller gun and the rest of the guns as well. The smaller gun can turn 360 degrees. There's no handle or anything. It's just like that, and it has a small little, well, targeting sight on the top, but who controls it is just beyond me. I'm not too sure if the driver can actually control it, considering he's busy driving the Cobra Ringneck. Then we have the smaller gun stations, which is, you can remove it. This is the bottom section of the gun station. It has a design of the hole here. Is meant to plug in on the peg down below, as you can see there. So yes, we have a gun station, which the smaller twin turret, I would assume machine gun, can turn 360 degrees. And by popping off the leg stands like so, and snap it until you hear a click, you can actually place it like so, having a smaller gun station with half of the Cobra Trooper's body exposed with no protection at all. Again, who thinks about this design is just beyond me. Now, there are other features for this vehicle as well. As I mentioned before earlier in the video, by pushing this handle at the back here, you activate two of these gun stations to move by its own, and some silly, very kiddish sound effect. Right? By pushing all the way in, you can see the gun stations can actually move all the way to the sides. Now, there's also another feature for the sounds itself. At the bottom section of the vehicle, there's a small little, as you can see, a tab here to activate the sounds. Now, once I turn it on, and when you roll the vehicle, and it rolls pretty nicely done, very nice. Now for the sound of the vehicle itself, now that's a nice sound. The laser sounds is kinda kiddish, but the roaring sound of the vehicle is very nice. And speaking of which, yes, it rolls pretty well with 6 wheels. Very nice. Now let's try to place in a figure like the Neo Viper himself. You can place him at the turret there and close the hatch with no problem, or have him, well, since he's a driver, have him sit at the driver's seat here, like so. As you can see, half his body is already exposed. A sniper can easily take him out. But is it compatible for your 25th anniversary figures or your 30th anniversary figures? Actually, it is. It is compatible. Now, by removing this guy, let's put the 30th anniversary Cobra Viper at the sitting driver's seat here. Very nicely done. Or if you prefer to have more Cobra Vipers, you can have them stand at the smaller gun stations, but they are a little bit too tall, so you have to bend the legs a little bit so they, well, they don't feel like they're too tall handling the smaller machine guns there. But for the turret itself, you really need to bend the knees a little bit, because you won't be able to close the hatch if you do not bend the knee at all. So have the 25th or 30th anniversary figures bend the knees a little bit and close the hatch. There you have it. Very nice. Now the vehicle design is alright. I really liked this urban feel of a vehicle itself, and I really like the sound of the gimmick for the roaring sound of the vehicle. Laser sounds is not really impressive, and the gimmick of the removable gun stations is not really impressive at all. And also tiny little guns for the driver is kind of pointless. If this serves as a troop carrier, since the back portion has a lot of space, but they chose to put in the sound gimmick, it will be a nice addition for your collection. If it's a troop carrier, of course they have to put in the sound gimmick to attract the kids. So furthermore, if I'm gonna give a rating for the Cobra Ringneck, I'm gonna give it a nice 7 out of 10, because I really like the vehicle on its own design. It does seem like a urban tank despite the exposed cockpits on the bottom section of the vehicle. But I really like this turret here. It totally protects the gunner. What I really don't like is the barrel itself that is already affixed to one location, so does the rest of the guns. So 7 out of 10 for the Cobra Ringneck. I thank you all for watching. This is Lucy05 and I'm signing off.